What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new album, Killing for Revenge by 6 Feet Under. This band has been around for a very long time. They formed in 1993, and this is their 14th studio album in 30 years. They got together when Chris Barnes left Cannibal Corpse, and then they dropped their debut album, Haunted, in 1995. And I would say it's all right. Most of their albums are just all right. Some of them are pretty bad, but there are some standout albums, such as their third studio album, Maximum Violence, and their 10th and 11th records, Undead and Unborn. Still, they weren't really breaking any new ground or really wowing any death metal fans, and there's always one glaring issue with this band ever since the beginning. Chris Barnes. The music isn't always the best, but at the same time, I wouldn't really consider it to be a negative aspect to their sound. I mean, sure, it could be a little repetitive, and it does have its issues, but compared to the vocals, I mean, some people like his vocals, especially from his Cannibal Corpse days, but I would say most really don't, and they've only gotten worse with time, making their 2020 album, Nightmare of the Decomposed, one of the worst death metal, or even one of the worst metal albums of all time. The song Zodiac being a prime example of just how bad his songwriting and his vocals have gotten. Pick up the pieces of my destruction. This made a lot of us roll our eyes and honestly not get very excited when they announced a new album and dropped a new single titled No Nothing Ingrate, which is also the opening track for Killing for Revenge. And I'm not really sure who this song is about, but Chris is very angry with them, putting them down and insulting their intelligence. Oh wait, it's actually about people voicing their opinions about Chris Barnes' vocals and I guess the band's music, but more or less Chris Barnes' vocals on the internet. Luckily, the music kind of drowns out the vocals with blast beats and a very quick guitar riff. You can still kind of hear him in the background, but he isn't necessarily ruining the song, and the guitar solo around the midpoint of the song works very well too. The second and last single that we got for this album was Ascension, which is basically the same exact thing. The music's all pretty much the same. Blast beats, a quick guitar riff. Sure, it is a little bit more dynamic, but it doesn't change all that much. And again, it doesn't sound too bad though, because you can't really hear the vocals, but they're definitely still there. In all honesty, though, it's kind of a boring song. It's just a thrashy 4.5 minute long jam session. Once we get to the meat of the album with the next track, Accomplice to Evil Deeds, we get some pretty nasty riffs that sound good. And I really like the lyrics, which are about joining in on some pretty gruesome stuff, which is what death metal should be all about, and I really enjoyed that. The guitar solo, again, sounds really good, especially paired up with the drums. Unfortunately, though, we hear the vocals a little bit more, specifically the hook. We hear, "You will be my accomplice," 12 times throughout the entire song, which to me is just a few too many. When the Moon Goes Down in Blood has a traditional death metal sound with a really bouncy lead guitar riff, and it continues the same kind of theme of having horrific images, but this time it feels a little bit more forced and formulaic. I don't know, they're just trying way too hard. It doesn't feel like it's coming very natural. The lyrics just aren't really there. And outside of the bridge, I found this song to be pretty dull, but also the bridge is ruined by an absolutely awful vocal performance once again. Then we have the song Hostility Against Mankind, which changes things up a little bit with a slower tempo, which sounds fantastic. I enjoyed the kind of doomy atmosphere that this song brought, but again, the vocals completely ruin it. I feel like they should have been further behind in the mix, especially when you sound this bad. And again, the lyrics are very lazy. It feels very formulaic. Again, they're trying way too hard in this song. After about a minute into this song, you definitely get a little tired of it until you get to the interlude, which gets you headbanging. It sounds fantastic. It should have ended with this, but unfortunately, there is another grueling verse and chorus. Then we have the song Compulsive, which goes back to the fast riff and really quick drum work. To me, it feels kind of refreshing going back to it, even after just one slow song. And the vocals in this actually aren't that bad. And the overall songwriting on this is quite enjoyable, especially the drum work, but it does feel very long. A lot of these songs feel like they're a lot longer than they should be. This song would be a lot better if it was trimmed down, just like, I don't know, most of these. A lot of these songs are almost 4 minutes long or over 4 minutes long, where it feels like they could have been 3.5 to just 3. Fit of Courage is super thrashy, and again, the vocals actually aren't too bad on this one either. It's not great, and it does get a little rough here and there, but the song is actually enjoyable thanks to the riff. The bridge will make you giggle, though, the first time you hear it, because of the vocals. Then we have the song Neanderthal, which has another really doomy riff to it, but it does get drowned out by Chris Barnes doing what he does. We have a special guest guitarist, Jason Sukoff, who is, I just believe, a producer, who is actually a very, very good guitar player on this song, and he helps out quite a bit. But unfortunately, I don't really think he's able to save this song, especially when you have Chris Barnes, who sounds like he's choking on a Lego while he's trying to say Neanderthal way too many times. Judgment Day has the same kind of riff that they've used on at least 3 other songs on this album, making it very forgettable along with the vocals and the lyrics, and it's just repetitive. This is one of the most skippable songs that I feel like the band has ever written. Thankfully, Bestial Savagery comes next with the Lamb of God like intro, which is super groovy. It sounds so good, full of promise, but then the song just kind of does the same thing that it does all the time. Reused kind of drum passages with a bunch of tremolo picking, the same kind of stuff we've heard on all the other songs. The guitar solo is pretty cool though. It sounds very unique, specifically due to its phrasing and just overall note choices. Mass Casualty Murdercide, it sounds like it should be on Nightmare of the Decomposed. It is so hard to take this song seriously with the really weak lyrics and the vocals right in your face. The music is exactly the same as all of the other songs as well. Spoils of War sounds like Mass Casualty Murdercide Part 2. The music doesn't really change, and neither do the vocals, unfortunately. The chorus is all right. It does sound pretty good, but it does also sound like Chris is saying stench from poo-poo and watch them, instead of saying stench from pillars. So I guess that's kind of fun. Hair of the Dog, which is a Nazareth cover song, is the closing track for this album if you're listening to it digitally or on CD. I guess they didn't add it on the vinyl pressing. I'm not really sure why it's only available literally everywhere else other than the vinyl. Save yourself the pain and just listen to the original. The hair metal style of this song is a lot better. Chris Barnes basically ruins it. The guitar work and the riffs and all that, I mean, they sound good, but I don't know. It kind of sounds like something that Dio would have written a very long time ago. So it doesn't really add anything to this album. So I guess it's kind of a bad closing track, even though it really isn't. But the original closing track, I guess you could say, isn't really that good either. I gotta admit, this was a pretty tough listen. Majority of the music is pretty much the same. They use the same kind of riff, the same drums, everything over and over again, which is sad because usually the music for me is what saves this band. I could listen to Nightmare of the Decomposed if it was all instrumentals. It wouldn't be nearly as bad if you took away the vocals. But on this one, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. There's some songs that are a little bit slower, a little bit doomier, slightly thrashier, but I mean, it's few and far in between. The vocals aren't nearly as bad as I feel like they could have been considering past albums. This is definitely a step up from Nightmare of the Decomposed for sure, but it isn't really that much better. I would say this is definitely a lot more listenable, where Nightmare of the Decomposed, I mean, you put it on, and after the second song, Zodiac, you start laughing, and that's what continues to help you push through, is just how funny it is, or you just can't stand it and you want to turn it off. So with all that said, I got to give Killing for Revenge by 6 Feet Under a 3.3 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling I know what most people's opinions on this album are going to be, but either way, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Killing for Revenge. Let me know what you would rate it, and if you have a favorite song, let me know what it is. And while you're down there, also let me know what you want me to review next. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. If you want to continue seeing my videos, liking it is the easiest way to do that. You subscribe and ring the bell icon goes very far as well. But liking a video really keeps pushing my videos in front of you a lot more. I'll start popping up more on your recommended section. I don't know why YouTube does that, but they really value interactions, commenting, and liking. And liking is the easiest way to go about it. So doing any of those things helps me out tremendously, and I appreciate it so much more than you could ever imagine. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you have me watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.